Live from WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, it's ParksCenter. You know, you'd think we'd have this down by now, but it's the big night. I'm very excited because tonight we're kind of bringing together the WDWNT MCU here because we've got Chris Reed, Cosmic Chris Reed from Cosmic Reed Live. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing? It's so nice to be here. This is awesome.
And from Pressing Issues, it's Emma.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
From our ParksCenter and the Vacationeer, Kamila.
Hi, good evening.
And from Ride Rehab and the RPG, it's Tyler Mann.
Si va co, everybody. Hope everyone's staying cold and happy, though.
Yeah, exactly. It is some bad weather out there. I'm Rob Whiteside. I'll be your host tonight. We have a lot of stuff to cover, and one of the things we want to talk about is there was some breaking news today. So hot off the presses. Two things to talk about. One is that Hong Kong Disneyland is opening after being closed, and quite honestly, I kind of forgot they were closed. I'm sorry. So Emma, you and I were talking about this before the break, and you were like, yeah, I kind of forgot that too, right? I mean, are we excited about this?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, considering, the numbers that we saw during the earnings call, and we talked about a little bit on Sunday during Pressing Issues, they still took a hit in parks, products, and experiences. I can't remember what that division is called now, but anyway, it's a good thing. It's going to bring more cash flow into the company, which, is good because that'll hopefully speed up the process of bringing back entertainment and other cast members and things and getting back to whatever normal is supposed to be. So,
yeah.
And I mean, that's a good thing for the people of Hong Kong. So,
yeah. So, and this is happening in 2 days. I didn't know this was happening until just now. It's happening in 2 days. Chris, I mean, they can open up Disneyland 2 days later, right?
Yeah, of course they could. No, I mean, this is a good thing, but Hong Kong, they were shut. This is like their third time opening, I think, right? If I was reading that right. So hopefully they've got stuff under control and hopefully it works out and they don't have to go into like a fourth shutdown. But yeah, good news overall. And I'm sure the people over there are excited and looking forward to experiencing the magic over there once again.
Yeah. So the other thing that came out news-wise was that Disneyland, there was a story that we ran that Disneyland was going to be moving from, there was legislature to move them from Tier 4, which is like we're cured, basically, to Tier 3, which is we're almost cured. And so now they've actually done that. They've passed that bill that they get to open in that orange tier with everybody else, like Knott's and the rest of those. Kamila, is this a big enough jump? I feel like it's not a big jump.
I feel like the reminder that Hong Kong Disneyland is just getting able to reopen, and we've talked about the struggles of Disneyland Paris. It's all just a reminder that this isn't happening, just in California Disneyland, but that all of the Disney parks around the world are being impacted still by this ongoing virus and pandemic. But it really feels like in California things are starting to turn around. Gavin Newsom, I don't know if it's the governor's office or California, but there's a TikTok that they released recently that just talks about where they were in terms of California dealing with the pandemic and the virus numbers and where they are today and how much progress they've made. And in the TikTok, they talk about the fact that, at one point in January, they were having 40,000 new cases a day. Now they're down to 5,000. A little over that. 1 in 10 Californians is vaccinated. So they really are moving in the right direction. And I think as you look at, DCA and the little private party they're about to have, it really feels like we're getting closer and closer to Disneyland Anaheim opening, which is exciting. And, they're just taking their time. But it's not just the California park. It's around the world. Everyone's trying to figure this out.
Yeah, and let's look. I just want to show this, again, to see, I think most of California is in this widespread They have to get to substantial and then down to moderate, which is 1 to 3.9 daily new cases per 100,000. 3.9. I don't know who was doing that math, but again, it's it basically they've got to be. It seems like almost like herd immunity at that point. So, any other thoughts from anybody? All right, so we'll go from talking about Disneyland opening to Disneyland actually doing stuff. So there is a new party that we talked about last week, and we have more information about it now. So we have news that they're going to be opening 6 food booths. Cars Land, which I'm very excited about the food from Cars Land, Pacific Wharf, Pixar Pier, Grizzly Peak food, and some beverage carts. I mean, so they're going to be opening up a section of this area, basically the whole park, it looks like, for us to be able to go in with a hard ticketed event and experience Disney California Adventure really for the first time. Aside from people who've been walking up and down Buena Vista Street, this is actually, I'm on the East Coast. This is actually almost enough for me to want to travel there. It's pretty exciting stuff. So, Chris, I'm going to throw it to you because I don't know. Do you travel anymore, or are you just basically locked in up there?
I mean, like it's worse. It's harder for us to come back because we have to like pay a certain amount, like $2,000 per person, if we want to travel and come back right now. So we're not traveling at the moment, but Disneyland and California Adventure, I love them, and I think this is such cool news that they're doing this. I'm really excited for the cast members that get to come back and make the magic again, the ones that are being recalled. That's fantastic news, and to do it slow and gradual, and to give the West Coast, the people that live there and people that want to go to this hard ticket event, something to do over there, just giving them another alternative. It's been such a hard time during the pandemic, so I'm really looking forward to this event. I'll be watching it all virtually because I can't go there, but yeah, it's a great thing for California for sure. It's slow, but it's something. What
about you, Tyler? Does it make you?
Well, I love a food festival, so I'm always there, especially when they do it at Epcot. It's just good to know that they're taking those steps. Like, I think the article we posted, the article that was posted on our site showed that there was they had started doing the social distancing signage and the spacing on the ground and stuff like that in preparation. So they're it's something they're definitely moving forward with, and it's good to see, because I know people who just say, I'd be happy just to walk around there again, or just get out, even if it's just to walk around some food booths. Like, at least we're getting out of our house and we're supporting the park that we love. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Emma?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took them so long to do this. But, I mean, Knott's has already been doing special events like this, so it just makes me really happy to see that, at least a part of Disneyland, DCA is doing this. And, I mean, I, at least from my fellow WIGS members, shout out to you all, the West Coast people, they've been itching just to exactly what Tyler was saying, get back into a park and walk around and just be there. So, I'm happy because it sounds like it's going to be very popular, which again, bringing some more money back in, hopefully so that way next quarter they won't take as much of a hit, and continuing to bring back more cast members and open up more things. So, all good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the demand is definitely there. I mean, you've got people waiting in 2-hour lines, definitely on the weekends and on many days during the week, just to get into the downtown Disney or the Buena Vista area. I think that's wild. But I will also say, I think for a lot of people, it's worth it. I think the food will actually be fantastic, and it sounds like they're opening up these booths, but also a lot of our favorites from DCA. The only thing to me is it's such a tease. The rides are so close, you can almost touch them. At what point do you just let them, run the rides also? It's just such a tease.
Yeah, that's true. It does seem like, well, we're already here, and Mater's Junkyard Jamboree is right there. You just flip a switch, turn it on, and we're good to go, right? Yeah, I agree with you. It would be great to finally get those things going again. So let's move on to this next thing, because I didn't want to put this in because I feel like all of our shows talked about it. but it's kind of a train wreck, right? So we sort of have to
Yes.
acknowledge it. The idea that, okay, so we're watching Disney Plus and it says, oh, warning, there's like cigarettes or tobacco use in here, and it's like one guy who had a cigarette for a second and drops it. Now we have these warnings on magic bands that say not for internal or subdermal use, because people were embedding them under their skin so they could be, I don't know, the cool kid, and like scan their magic band that's in their wrist. Like, why would you do this? Like, I don't even want to get my ears pierced, much less do I want to put an
Cyberpunk.
RFID like underneath my skin for that. Like, I mean, Emma, why would you do this?
Well, as my father would say, you can't fix stupid. But anyway, like I get it, you know, okay, sure. Sounds cool, but I mean, that's really dangerous. I mean, there's already some warnings about the bands, right? Because it has the RFID chip in it, and you know, I can't remember what it was, but the state of California has like a warning about some of the materials that are used in it. So I'm like, why would you want to put that under your skin? I don't know. That just seems like common sense to me. I was just at a loss for words when I saw this article, honestly.
Okay, Chris, did you guys talk about this on your show this week?
No, we didn't touch on it. No, but
Well,
I
now
mean,
it's your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, it's oh, hey, Emma. Yeah, it takes
Hey,
a lot.
what's
It takes a lot to make the world go around. There's lots of different people out there, and my goodness, I know that in like Finland or Sweden, there's like people getting chips in for like their doors and like work. That's a thing already. So this kind of thing is like not totally uncommon, but this is just the most bizarre thing I've ever, like, what do you put your hand up to the thing and it activates? Like, wouldn't the cast member think like, how did you do that? What's going on here? There's there's everything wrong with that, and it's not good for you. It can't be good for you. It's
Oh, you don't think so?
well, you know, yeah, like Emma said, you can't fix stupid. I don't know what else to add to it, because it's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Yep. It is.
Tyler?
I mean, when I worked at Legoland, you had a key card for everything, and I remember people just had put it in their hat so they could like go like that on doors, or they'd like tuck it under their sleeve so they could just bump into the door and it'll open. So, and we had written a joke, and I don't know if we'll ever do this. The idea of embedding a magic band into a plastic baby doll, so you could just push this doll's head against a magic band and it'll scan you into a ride or whatever. And I don't know if we ever did that, or if we're ever going to do that on News Tonight. But when I heard
Please
that
do.
somebody was doing this, somebody was like embedding this under their skin, I'm like, boy, that's the future Disney wants, where they're implanting thing in people's skin. Like, this is just somebody testing it out first. Anyways, that's just the weird cyberpunk of Disney future that people, I guess, want willingly.
Kids, don't try this at home. Unreal. So let's move on. So WandaVision, I don't know if y'all heard about this. There's a show called WandaVision. You probably haven't heard of it. Not a lot of
Maybe,
people are
probably
watching
not.
it. Yeah, not a lot of people are watching it. But what I love is that I don't feel like there is a ton of tie-in with Disney Plus in the parks, which seems like a waste. And so they set up this little photo thing at Disneyland, right? And I mean, aside from Baby Yoda, let's take Baby Yoda out of the equation because he came in but like a year late. They set up this really cool photo thing in California, and that was cool. And they were handing out posters, and then they were making these little cakes that are like what? They're like $30 cakes.
What?
$20. They're $20 cakes.
Yeah.
$20
Jeez.
cakes. Yeah. Still, I mean, it's a $20 cake, hand cake. And then today they talked about these little WandaVision pins, which I think are pretty cool. And of course, the limited edition, don't put it in your wrist, WandaVision magic band that they've got here. So I guess what I wanted to talk about is the fact that we're finally seeing some, I think, big time synergy. The fact that this is a show that's happening now, and they've got all this stuff ready to go and in the parks now, as opposed to it coming later. There's also a bus. I mean, they wrapped a bus for WandaVision. I don't think Baby Yoda has his own bus, or I may have missed that memo. I want to start with Kamila, because you've seen all this stuff start to take place here. Like, is there more opportunity for other stuff? Is this really fast for them to get stuff into the parks?
I mean, clearly there's a demand for it. I'm always amazed at how quickly it starts trending on Twitter, like #1 as soon as they release a new episode. People are really into this show. And I will say, I've actually seen the photo ops, or the end result of those photo opportunities that are over there at DCA, and it looks really cool. Like, that may be the best looking photo op I can remember ever having seen, and it really looks like you're like transported to a different time. So if you were able to take advantage of that, I would say do so. But I think it's cool. I think it's fun. It's a nice way for Disney to make some money and fans to enjoy the show even more. People are really liking it.
Yeah, what should be next, guys? I mean, I assume Winter Soldier, but I mean, don't you think it's time for more High School the Musical, the series merch?
Of course. Yeah.
Is it too late to actually do some Gravity Falls stuff, please?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Or any Disney
would
cartoons?
like to see more Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I
Star
actually
Wars.
think there's not enough Star Wars.
What's that?
I was like, you're joking,
I'm
right?
kidding. I'm kidding.
Care about that? Okay.
I actually think we need 3 more Star Wars stores.
Thank you. Finally, somebody said what needed to be said. We need more Star Wars stores. Let me just also share with you that, so here's a shot of the bus. So apparently our reporters took it while it was on the run and couldn't get the other side, but we assume that there is Wanda on the other side of this bus. But that's actually a pretty cool looking bus. So again, I'm impressed that they're doing this much stuff, this much crossover for this show. Obviously, it's warranted. I wouldn't have picked this one out of the gate to be the big winner, but it's a really good show. So,
right, and it makes sense with the big push to. Sorry, it makes sense with the big push for direct-to-consumer stuff. So I mean, even if they rushed it, like like all the stuff has been great, and it'll definitely help again with the cash flow into the company a little bit. I would hope. I would think.
No, for sure. So the other thing is we're going to have to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor, the Bolt. Everybody's favorite new electric car, sponsored by Disney. Apparently, they get to drive them through the parks. That's kind of cool. So for those of you who haven't seen it, there is a Bolt, presentation on our website. It's a 14-minute presentation about the new Chevy Bolt electric car. My thing when I'm watching this is that I feel like they're giving away the store here, because Disney's given them all their best IP. Obviously, they had some, Lucas folks, make an X-wing fly through. You've got the ghosts. You've got all this cool stuff. And as a Disney fan, it's kind of cool to see that. But I look at it and go, wow, they're giving them a lot. I hope they got $1 jillion for this, Chris. What are you thinking about all this?
Yeah, this ad, and I've watched it quite a few times today, and I showed some family. I love these ads. I love when they put this, the stuff from like the hitchhiking ghost in the teacups at the end, and the Star Wars stuff flying by. It gave me vibes of the Year of a Million Dreams ad, where they had like the park opening up and the hitchhiking ghost checking in, and the gingerbread man coming out of the oven whistling all happy with the music. Maybe it's because I'm so far away, and maybe just like the music really got to me in it, but I love the animation in it. I can't. It gets me every time. I'm sorry. I'm getting like choked up thinking about the little guys. Figments going into the. I just get really choked up when I see this stuff. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah. So she's looking in the mirror and she flips, and the ghosts are actually hitchhiking. and they're like, "Hey, there's ghosts back there with you." And then the scene with the X-wing, the little girl, she's playing with the X-wing, and then, oh, hey, look out the window. There's an actual X-wing flying through. Is that Poe Dameron? I can't tell.
I mean,
No,
and I tend to forget sometimes it was even for the car, because I just love this kind of stuff of the characters going in under the entrance and stuff, and it just gets to me.
Yeah, it does feel like it's as much a commercial for Disney as it does for the car, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the presentation itself, they show them like driving past the Morocco Pavilion through the park, and just as a Disney fan, all I'm thinking is they got to drive through the park. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with you. I'm like on the fence of the fact that it's like they gave them so much IP, and obviously they had to do all the animation and all that for this. But it's a lot, and I know that Chevy obviously sponsors Test Track, but I wonder what else was part of this deal. It had to be big, right?
I was going to say that's probably why they did it, was because they had that sponsorship, and they're like, we may as well get the most out of this by making a bunch of Disney ads, because this is like the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. And, you know, by the way, people were like losing their mind that Figment was in there at all, because everyone's so worried about Figment. And I think somebody mentioned that like him laughing is like a voice line they specifically recorded for this advertisement. It could just be something from the ride itself. But also just that ambiguously gay couple in the car. I think that was pretty nice. Anyways.
Wait, what? No, I'm just kidding. So let's move on from our sponsor here and talk a little bit about 2022. One of the things that I saw on our site and is that park passes are going to be continued. I kind of bummed out about that a little bit. But so they talked about 2020 and 2022 and all the things that are happening. And so I would say, there are lots of packages available, which is great. But then there's also the fact that the average single ticket day price is going up. Like, that seems crazy to me, because we're getting a lot less than we used to get. So that's a thing. And then the fact that the Disney dining plan is still going to be unavailable for 2022 vacation packages. So it seems like it's just a lot of sadness. But I mean, Kamila, you're the travel expert here. Walk me through it. Tell me all the things we should be excited about.
You know what? This is in many ways the moment we've been waiting for. So many people were waiting for 2022 pricing information, package information. I really do think there is a lot of pent-up demand out there. I think people are ready to go places, but they are waiting. They don't necessarily want to go the first half of this year, so the second half of 2021 is looking much busier. Almost everything I book is October to December of this year, and then people waiting for 2022 stuff to come out. So if anything, it's kind of painful that we actually only got pricing through, I think it was June of 2022. Quite a few of the people who I have that are waiting on 2022 info were actually waiting for even later 2022, because that's how much people are trying to plan ahead. But this is the moment we've been waiting for, and I think some of the information about dining plans not being back, and also park passes still being a thing, that wasn't particularly surprising to me. One thing I'll say about the park passes, it's easier to get rid of them than it is to still need them and not have them. So I could see a situation where Disney says you still need to sign up for a park pass, and then one day they say, you know what, park passes are no longer needed. That's much easier to do than the opposite. So, it's the beginning. I think they still have a lot to figure out. There's a lot to still bring back in terms of perks, but it's our first glimpse into the future and what Disney will look like, hopefully, in this pandemic world.
Yeah, let me ask, Emma, you've had to deal with the park pass system. I mean, am I wrong on this? Like, I'm
yes,
kind of frustrated by it. Yeah.
So, yeah. It's, it actually is okay, though. I think for people who are booking packages, which means they're going to be people who are staying on property, I think that's fine. I had no issues on my last trip in January changing my plans the day before or even the day of going to another park. I mean, weekends are a little different, but I mean, there was still availability even for Hollywood Studios on a Saturday or a Sunday as a resort guest. Now, that being said, like, in fact, I think I was talking about this with a Wigs member as well, was about how the app is glitchy if you try to change it from the app, but it's fine if you change it from a desktop computer. So that can be a pain if you're on vacation and trying to fix something and you can't because you don't have your computer with you, blah, 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 blah. And then you have to go to the front desk and, you know, it can be a hassle. But, you know, I agree with Kamila. We don't know how vaccines are going to roll out and how quickly that's going to happen. We don't know when herd immunity is going to happen yet. We don't know what protocols as far as health and safety measures, you know, if those are going to relax at all in the future or when they do, when that's going to be. So to me, the park pass system continuing longer than it probably will need to just makes the most sense, you know, for now.
Chris, up there, you guys have probably already been cured by now, based on everything I've heard from the Canadian healthcare system, right? I mean, isn't that how that goes?
Pretty well. Yeah, we've all got our vaccine. Tyler, you're good too, right? We're good. No.
Yeah, they just like deliver it to like your mailbox, and then you just sort of.
That's right. Yeah, you do it yourself. Yeah.
So Chris, the Park Pass system, again, you haven't really been in a place to use it yet, but don't you think it's probably for someone, like obviously for us, we've been using the Fast Pass system for years and the dining reservations, and now we're kind of getting on the Park Pass system, but for someone who's never been, and I hate to keep harping on the Park Pass system, but don't you think it seems a little complicated for newbies, or maybe newbies don't need to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, they should certainly go. I mean, it's just an extra step. I mean, you think of planning your very first vacation down there, and it's just the whole thing is overwhelming. There's 4 parks and 2 water parks and all this crazy stuff going on in Florida, and it's an extra step. You want to. You're gonna have to just do extra research, I think, is what I'm trying to say, and it's going to be difficult to do that, and we used to go and just wing it and go wherever we wanted to. Like, we'd figure stuff out on our own. But it's an extra step that I think might frustrate some people. You always see those frustrated parents in the parks, and I think this might make that a little bit worse.
Let me ask this, Kamila, because we're still learning this system. I mean, and it's been in effect since July. And Michelle, I think, asked in chat, is there a way to cancel multiple park passes at once? Do you know? Like, I don't think there is.
I don't think there is at once, but you can select everyone in your group and pretty quickly and easily, you know, cancel for the day. So it's not something that takes a long time at all.
Yeah, I mean, we as like kind of, I guess, self-proclaimed experts have been working the system of, we got to get our 3 fast passes for each day and figure out which, you know, ADRs we're going to have for that day, and figure out 180 days in advance on a Tuesday I want to eat at, you know, Japan. And so all of these different things that we've worked out over the years, and now the Park Pass system is like kind of, that's the only thing you can do, really. I mean, you can do ADR 60 days out now, but, you know,
but so can everyone else.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
No, not
so the last what?
I was to say, it's not a perk. That's what I'm waiting for, is when are more of the resort perks going to come back? Because right now, not that much that everyone else can also do.
Well, and that's the thing I have a problem with them raising the park pass, the day passes, that like there's less to do than ever, and they're going to raise the ticket price more, and you have to wait in line longer. So a lot of frustration there. Speaking of frustration, the last story, we got a lot of monorail stuff to talk about. One is we were like, hey, this is really cool. We were told that the Epcot monorail may be opening soon, which I think was crazy, because, you know, you're basically touring a war zone as you go around Spaceship Earth. So I don't think it's a pretty view, but it would be definitely, I would be wanting to see all the stuff that's happening. And then apparently they tried it out and it was not going to happen. They decided not to open the monorail after all. This happened within 24 hours. We found out one and then the other, and they're going to use apparently the monorail station for Epcot now as like overflow queue for the Magic Kingdom line. And then we've got this devastation and destruction still happening over at Poly. And then there was also the monorail was closed for an outage for a couple hours the other day. And then on top of that, they went ahead and refurbed Monorail Red and brought it back into the lineup. So I guess my confusion, and I'm going to throw this to Emma first because I think you were on the episode where Jason ranted on pressing issues about monorails and this fleet that we're expecting. Why there's so much going on with monorails, and obviously there's social distancing and issues that we've got, which is why we can't open the Epcot line. But refurbing and putting them back into production seems to me that's saying we're not going to see a new fleet anytime soon, right?
Right. That seems what it's like to me. I mean, especially when they're cutting and slowing down all the construction projects that they already have going on, you know, especially Epcot. We just said, like, it's a war construction zone, basically. So, I'm like, what? That just, I mean, it's nice that they're refurbishing these monorails and taking the time, but yeah, I guess that new fleet isn't coming for quite some time now. And honestly, like, I was kind of hoping they would bring back the Epcot line because of park hopping is back. And honestly, that's where most people are going when they park hop. So if anything, it would make it easier to get from Magic Kingdom or from one of the resorts to go over there. And so, yeah, it makes me sad that it's not happening.
By the way, again, I appreciate social distancing and them keeping us safe, but this looks like a TJ Maxx dressing room, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible. I've ridden one of those when I was there last. It's terrible.
I mean,
it's bad.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a better way. I kind of like the way they had it before, where they just had the partition, but then they had to put the holes in them, and yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff happening with that. Tyler, Chris, any thoughts about monorails and the future of?
I mean, if they could make plexiglass where I don't have to look at other people, let alone be near them, that would be good. I'm actually happy with that. I want my own little personal space there where I'm like, I'm all alone on this monorail. Lovely.
Yeah. I like what they did to Monorail Red. I mean, I do like that. I do like how that looks. Yeah, but
so here's my hot take. I like the Skyliner better now. I mean, I love the monorails. What's that?
I said that is definitely correct.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Skyliner is very pleasant. You can get over onto the onto the line, and usually there's not too much of a wait. Sometimes there's a little bit of a wait for the Epcot one, but I mean, it's a pleasant ride. They're not cramming more than one party into each cab, so that's good. You get this beautiful view of things rather than like a bunch of construction. You get to see a little bit of the French expansion and how that's going. It seems pretty smooth, pretty quick. It's kind of fun. Like, I'm down with that, and it drops you off the closest to the entrances of like any other transportation. True. Whether it be a tram or a bus or whatever, it just drops you off right there. So
yeah.
I mean,
especially
I know
if
that
you want to be
Tom
in World Showcase for a festival.
Yeah, exactly. I know that Tom and crew are not the huge fans of that, but he's never gonna see this anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'm a huge fan of that. And with that, we are a huge fan of our WIGS members. Thank you guys so much for being WIGS. If you're not familiar, WIGS is the WDWNT Interglobe Society. It's our Patreon program. If you'd like more information on that, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. I would just like to thank all of the people from all of the shows that came to make this show great tonight. Thank you, Chris and Emma and Kamila and Tyler, for being here. We appreciate it. If you are a WIGS member, we do have a post show, so we will see you in the post show. Thanks a lot. Have a great one.